Duopharma Biotech has been in the news for its potential role in an upcoming COVID-19 vaccine. But even before that, Duopharma was working on building up its current business with an emphasis on halal. So, has this pandemic thrown a wrench in the works or brought opportunity? We talked to Group MD Leonard Ariff Abdul Shatar about Duopharma's future plans, whether being a healthcare company means it is more resilient during these current times, and yes, about that vaccine. You recently hosted your first halal webinar. So in terms of hard data, have you found that from a business perspective, how do webinars and educational events like this actually help business? Do you see more more sign-ups? Is it more people inquiring with Duopharma? I mean, how does it translate business-wise?
Okay. Now, I get this question a lot, and they always ask me, how much has halal contributed to your bottom line?
Yeah.
And it's very hard for us to say so because all our products that we manufacture are actually halal. So in a way, our growth is reflective of the fact that we're halal. Now, obviously you can't do a difference case and say what would your sales have been had you not been halal. Right? So from our perspective, we've been growing, especially in the consumer healthcare, double digits over the last 3 to 4 years. And we believe that a certain portion of that is also contributed by the fact we're halal. Now, one of our major revenue drivers or revenue growth drivers over the last 5 years has been our consumer healthcare. And a lot of the products that we're manufacturing, we are actually targeting in terms of consumer groups, the young Malay market as well.
Okay. All right, not just the urbans, it's just
not just the urbans. In the past, it used to be very much urban focused,
yeah.
But in the last 4 or 5 years, we've actually moved because our belief is that we've hit a tipping point among the Malay consumers, that there is a higher level of disposable income, and they are happy to actually purchase a slightly more expensive product if they see functional benefits behind the product as well. So that we saw as an untapped market. Now, obviously, when you're going after the younger Malay market, one of the criteria or one of the licenses to operate would be the fact that you have to have a halal product to put in front of them so that you remove any doubt as to whether I can consume that product or not. So from that perspective, we've done a very much online media program. It's been a little bit hybrid, but a much heavier online content than we probably did about 5 years ago. And we're seeing a lot of the benefits of that accruing back to the company commercially.
All right. You've been in the news a lot because of this whole vaccine thing. What is Duopharma's role in this? Is it it's the end stage process? So how is it different from what Pharma Niaga is doing?
Now, you can choose 2 pathways. You can go for a finished product, or you can go for a bulk and do the finishing yourself. So Malaysia has not discounted either possibilities, but definitely given the fact that the rate limiter for vaccines will most likely be its finishing. By developing the capability to take in bulk, in a way you give a better chance that you will get the vaccine earlier rather than to have to queue
and wait
for those products to be finished wherever they're going to be finished. So that's the rationale. We actually have a line that was dedicated for inert human vaccines. Now, this was a line that we built in 2010, mainly because we were working with a US company at that stage on a different type of vaccine. But that project did not take off in the US. But we had completed, because our part of the bargain was to build a fill and finish facility. So the line has been there and it's not being utilized. All our other products are run on other alternative lines. So we have the only dedicated line in Malaysia for human vaccines.
In cases like this, it's the government that pays you, is it? Or the people who get the end product?
It would depend. I mean, at this stage, it hasn't been decided exactly how the payment mechanism would be. Obviously, the government's got the choice. Once they identify a candidate, it could be one potential commercial model is we purchase the vaccine, we do the finishing, and we supply it to the government as a finished form. Another option, government purchases the bulk and just pay us a service fee to actually do the finishing. So our value added comes really in the finishing side more than the earlier side. But it's very much up to the government how they want to actually do it. We're quite flexible.
At the moment, of course, the one thing that I've found for a lot of pharma or healthcare companies is that in this current day and age, as we're in the middle of a pandemic, a lot of people are more conscious of their health. And because of that, people are buying more supplements. They are trying to boost immune systems. Is your marketing or ad spend going to go up at this time because you think that you have a good product that you want to push out?
A common misconception is the entire healthcare market benefited from the pandemic.
Okay.
And the answer is very, very clearly no. Definitely the subsector of consumer healthcare immunity boosting products definitely grew. And if you want to attach a number onto it, it grew at least by 20%.
That's over like
over the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Since the pandemic started. And that has actually helped us to buffer other areas where the pharmaceutical market actually softened. The MCO has actually produced some interesting demand dynamics which we did not anticipate right at the beginning of the MCO. We were able, as an essential service, to operate at least at its peak, we were allowed to operate at 50% capacity.
All right.
But we had sufficient finished goods stock to last us at least 3 or 6 months.
In terms of products, what are you looking to add to your range in the
We're
next
still
couple
going
of
to
months?
be actually going ahead with some launches. It was actually quite interesting because some of the A&P spend we had planned was going to come through during the MCO period. And obviously we couldn't. All of that has been delayed, so we're going to be in an interesting situation where a lot of A&P that was spread over 8 months is going to be spent on 4 months.